I'm trying to hold my breath. Let it stay this way. Can't let this moment end. You set off a dream in me, getting louder now. Can you hear it echoing? Take my hand. Will you share this with me? 'Cause darling, without you, all the shine, the thousand spotlights, all the stars we steal from the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Time to love, still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough, never be enough.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? I'm Veronica Bartolini, Unchained Hearts. And guess what? Today I have three beautiful ladies. 1, 2, 3, 4 with me. One moment. So we're going to talk about menopause, women, sex, men, sex, erectile dysfunction. I know, Katie, we were talking about that the other day. And so we have Katie Kamara, we have Shannon Smith, Amaria Sweet. Katie Kamara is my producer, and I'm very grateful for all of us being here. And I'm Veronica with Unchained Hearts. We're going to be on Soma Fusion, Mind, Body, and Soul. So, how's everyone doing? Which ladies wants to say first? Hi first. Sorry, I'm thinking backward. Spanish. Katie, you want to go first?
Oh, me. Oh, you're talking about me. Oh, shit. I'm not with it today. No, yes, I'm Katie. I'm also a reverend. I am many things, but never one thing. So if you can figure me out, that would be great, because I would love to know the answer.
You're awesome.
But no,
Thank you.
professionally speaking, I am the owner of Summer Fusion Media. I also run this network. I'm also a metapsychoanalyst, and so I do lots of different topics, everything from sex to metaphysics.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.
And we have Shannon now. Shannon Smith. I guess you want to go first, Miss Shannon Smith Robin?
Hi. I'm me. I live in Michigan, so we were just talking about that. I'm a special education teacher by trade, I guess. I don't know how much of my resume you want, but I also am a registered yoga instructor and Reiki as well. So, yeah, and I'm the creator of iEvolveTV.
Yay! Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you.
So happy. And congratulations, you're on with Katie now. So,
yes.
Yeah. I'm
yes.
excited.
Thank you to you too.
All of us ladies are on with Katie. It's amazing how we just get together and sharpen iron. What was it? Iron sharpens iron. We get together as ladies, and men are also they're able to come on the show or whatever. But anyway,
yeah.
Rambling, and now we have Amaria Sweet.
Amaria Sweet. I've got a radio show called Heart Mind Expressions, and another one with Pride Talks, the Sovereign 3, and the Fab 4. So I've got a few radio shows that I enjoy discussing various topics. I believe that everyone has an amazing power within them to become a divine, beautiful soul if they haven't already been able to find that. And so my mission is to help people to discover and to remember who they were in their other lives and the mission that they came to. And so I use the tools that I've been learning through neurolinguistics programming, as well as various communication techniques. I'm always learning new things. Right now, I'm researching the nonviolent communication model. And there's another couple that I'm just, it's really been fun. And I do meditations. I also do a type of psionic corporal grid work. And so it's kind of like a etheric surgery where it can help people to pull things off, to energetically shift the energy so that they can be able to head the path that they're wanting to do.
Yeah, you totally helped me with that one. Thank you. And I'm probably going to need to do another session for the left shoulder. I was cutting some cords last night. It has to do with abandonment and abuse. So we got to deal with that. Hopefully, when we have time, when you have time. But I wanted you to share that the pyramid, because you make those energy. What do they call it?
Right. I wish that I could take yours out of the mold. Mine and yours is almost done. This morning I just poured the last part. I just have to put the label on and then do the final dip. So, but this is one that I made for somebody that I'm just like right now. I'm just going through my stuff. I'm recycling copper, metals. This was some citrine sand that I had with some shungite sand, and I took pictures of it. That actually has really big, powerful magnets inside. It's a trademark. I'm still trying to get my paperwork. It's called Ganzanite, and it uses several technologies. The main thing that you'll see like right here is a coil. Like there's been people that kind of make the different coils. So there's radionics coils that I use, and I do program those with psionics, and then different crystal energies. Underneath, you'll see a little wound tubey looking thing. It's got plasma GANs in it, which is a type of tachyon energy. And so just really powerful. This is from my research, what I've been able to come up with as close as I can to medbed technology. So
that's amazing. I can't wait to see how mine turns out. So,
I love where this stuff feels.
It's so cool. Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for being
thank
here.
you.
So, I started talking about menopause when we're going to talk about menopause a little bit right now, just to get it out of the door, right out off the bat, like they say. I didn't know what the hell I was going through. This was last June. I was being very nasty in a mean way to my family members, and like my daughter. She's like, "What's wrong with you, mom?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna kill somebody or something," because I started getting, these just sweating profusely. I mean, everywhere. My hair, my head, my chest, the draining from the armpits. I mean, come on. Like, I wasn't running a marathon or anything. I was grocery shopping that day. And yeah, it was really hot. It was about 110 degrees.
Those hot flashes.
Yeah, I didn't know what the hell, and they told me I had, let's see, because I had certain shots when I was in the military, the anthrax with the Quaalude. I started getting some of the veterans came back with migraines. I still have migraines. I have to get a bunch of shots for those, 34 shots in my head. But it also, the anthrax mixed with Quaalude messed up my back. It messed up the sacral area. So I came back, how do you say, with cervical cancer. And so they had a leap done. Okay, I had a leap done. I couldn't have kids, so I had that done. And then finally I was able to have my 2 kids. And then in 2012, I started having issues again. They said I had endometriosis, but it was also a cancer. I don't know. I kind of feel that they should have taken it out, but yes, I was in pain, but they took my cervix and my uterus. They left the ovaries. Okay. So I was like, okay, am I going through, I was 49, 49 last year? Yeah. So I'm like, aren't you supposed to go through menopause when you're older? You have all these fairy tales, or what do you call those, the tales, programs that are being told by parents, by old wives tales that, you never know. To me, I just want to know what the heck, what's going on with me. um Finally, I told myself I'm not going to take any estrogen because I don't want anything messing with me. So someone, I think it was one of my sisters, she recommended Amberin, which they sell either at Costco or Walgreens or CVS somewhere that I found here, and it has been working along with the probiotics, which are 25 billion probiotics plus enzymes. So that helped me totally from night to day. If not, seriously, there's that. I understand now why women go to jail, go to prison, unfortunately, or something happens, because it was horrible. It's like the Hulk was with me all the time, my She-Hulk, and I'm like, no, you can't have that every day. Driving, flipping people off. That's not me. So, and then, just drinking a lot of water, exercising. I don't know, have any of you ladies been, and before I ask, Katie, if you don't mind giving the phone number out, and then if you all want to talk about if y'all have gone through this or not. The phone number so people can call in, please. Thank you.
The phone number is currently up on the screen right now, but the call-in number is 929-436-2866 with a meeting ID number 522-657-2748.
Love it.
There you
The
go.
beautiful Katie
Well,
Kamara.
Thank you so much, Katie. So, have any of you ladies that are on
Yes.
right now? I know Katie, she's the young one here.
Very similar.
Yes, but it doesn't mean that I don't have my moments, though.
Right.
I want you to talk
No,
about
I
that.
mean,
Actually,
you got to
because-
remember. You got to remember too that there is such thing as perimenopause, and that usually happens in your 30s. So, so I have the partials of what's menopause, and so yeah. But after, I mean, I'm almost 35 years old. I'm getting to that stage where I'm like, okay, I'm over having kids. I really don't want any kids. But the thing is that you're still you're still at that in between stage, and so it not means that I'm not quite grown yet, but still I'm halfway there. The other thing is too is that when you start mentioning menopause, you're talking about grey hairs and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, hang on, I found my first grey hair about a year ago, so what the hell? And so
I think that's genetic though. Like I have a grandmother in her 90s and she still has she still has hair that's, a lot of it's gray. But
So she really retains her minerals well.
Well, I started getting gray hair at 17, so I don't know if that has to do with any programs, which we're not going to get into that right now because I'm not going to talk about that. I want to get away from that right now for at least a day. So
well, I'm noticing the more copper in my diet, it's kept my hair darker. I mean, I still have my stripes and a few here and there on the white hairs.
Copper meaning like copper mineral, because remember, if you're a certain blood type, you can't. Some of us can't have much iron. You got to have a copper-based thing, so you got to be careful with that. But go ahead.
Yeah, I use colloidal silver and colloidal copper. But it's part of what my naturopath put me on, and then because I had a hysterectomy in 2008 November, just before the Thanksgiving. Right, it was about a few months after my youngest son was born, Braylon, and my dog is snoring. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that. Before that, I was having like really heavy menses, where I would go like 2 weeks and then 2 weeks spotting and then 2 weeks hard and 2 weeks spotting. And my hormones were always crazy and I would be like really depressed. I attempted actually suicide in 2010. So it was a couple of years after we were still trying to figure out the hormones. But when I started changing my diet, I noticed it was getting better, like getting off of processed sugars, processed foods, things that were boxed, stuff like that. And then, I mean, now I'm pretty much all natural. I pretty much live fasting, like I do intermittent fasting a lot, but I still get the hot flashes on occasion. And it's usually when I'm doing energy work. So I think that might just be energy transference. But I mean, the night sweats, yeah, girl. Oh, I remember those. They were really bad for a few years. And then like the jitters, you notice like you get just somebody says something and you're just kind of on that edge and it just pushes the button. You're just, you know, it's just kind of that.
That's me. That's like, yeah.
That's the way I was when I first started the menopause. Because my hysterectomy, they did take the ovaries. The Army basically did it through their insurance thing, and their requirement is everything comes out.
What did they take? Everything?
They took everything, my cervix, my uterus, and my ovaries. So I had a full bilateral oophorectomy with the hysterectomy as well. So, but they required it. And the only one that I had problems with was my left ovary, but that's the one that I remembered. There was a mission. Well, it wasn't a mission. It was coming whenever I got sent back on a colony that I had been with. It was basically with Frankensusan. And when she had got shot in the back and I was stabbed, that's where I was stabbed. And it's like that scar was left when we came back in 1997. And so that's the problems I was always having with heavy menses. It was like really weird endometriosis and like the cysts I would feel in pop. But my right ovary was fine and never had problems. But the Army is like, nope, we have to take everything out.
Yeah, sometimes it just makes me wonder if they just use our stuff too.
Oh God, I think so.
For others to grow, because I did have a flashback about that, but anyway, we won't get into that right now. I'm trying really hard not to.
We'll be like SSP menopause.
I know, because it's related. We can actually do a show on our own, you and I, we could do that.
Oh,
actually, we could do that on Thursday if you want, or Friday.
There we go.
So, Shannon, have you had anything to do with premenopause or any issues,
besides being a little irregular, which that has a lot to do with stress. After my husband passed away, I was very irregular, and that was 2012. So 2013. I also lost a ton of hair, and then when my mom died, the same thing happened. The same thing occurred, but I kind of looked to my family as like what happened for them, and my mom didn't start menopause until she was in her 50s. So obviously my experience has been different because there has been added traumas that maybe perhaps she didn't experience. Different, of course. But yeah, other than that, like I've just always had, besides the irregularity, which kind of will throw you off too. And then you stress about that and that becomes like a cycle. I've always had I've always been an athlete too. So that might have helped too. And just your genetics, it just is. But I've always just been very regular, very short, very like, oh, well, guess what's happening right now. And I have all my parts and I'm 46. So I don't know.
No,
I'm pretty lame. Sorry, I'm not very interesting.
You're not lame. That's awesome. Because
you're amazing.
See, I was gonna say, Veronica too. For me though, because I haven't reached that stage, when women tend to lean on their mothers for advice and the know-how and all that kind of stuff for the basics of womanhood, if you're in that position to get that support. See, for me, I don't know what that is because my mother hasn't even gotten into menopause yet. And so all I can go is of personal experiences from other people among the education that I've had. And so for me, it's something that I'm not even looking forward to, but I know it's going to happen at some point. So it's
my mom,
inevitable.
When I was 34, my mom hadn't either. So yeah, just what happens though, a lot of things change physically, like your hair changes, your complexion changes. So look, and my maidenhood as long as possible.
And my mother's almost 52. So
right.
So yeah, she's still young. I was going to mention something else too, but which also affects menopause, but it's also pre-existing. So, which is why I'm more inclined to say, hey, just take let me have a hysterectomy and get it over and done with, because I'm actually a sufferer of polycystic ovarian syndrome. And that in itself is lifelong. There is no cure for it. But it's basically, for those who don't know what polycystic ovarian syndrome, it's otherwise known as PCOS, PCOS. It is a imbalance of hormones, and there's two parts. You can either have too much. You can be a baby maker, so you can become very, very fertile, or can become infertile. And I was stuck between the two. I was diagnosed with it when I was 17 years old. And I was told that I would never have any children. And of course, that contributed, because polycystic ovarian syndrome does contribute a lot to weight gain and excessive hair and so on and so forth. So with me,
Real quick before I forget, Katie, I'm glad that you mentioned that. My mom was always telling us, I have two sisters, she would tell us, now you better start losing weight because before your menopause, because if you don't, you're gonna stay that way. And I don't know if that's a spell or not, but I rebuked it. I returned it to sender. I don't know if it's true or not. Okay, I don't know the medical crap that happens behind the scenes, but all I knew is my body said, yo, keyword, we gotta go to the gym, we gotta go start losing weight, we gotta, like, automatically, my mind, my body, everything said, we're gonna do this, without me even knowing that I was gonna actually go into full-blown menopause the year after. Isn't that crazy?
And having extra weight too affects, because a lot of times extra weight will deplete your vitamin D. Vitamin D is actually a hormone. So yeah, that will that'll throw off your just having extra weight. Extra, I don't mean extra like on what the doctors show you in the office as the scale, because like whatever. Come on.
Yeah, well, with me,
but you know what I mean? Significant extra, it throws off your hormones as well.
Yeah,
so she's not wrong.
With me, I actually ballooned up to 324 pounds back when I was, back in 2017. No, not 2017, 2007. And so in 2007, I paid almost 13 grand for lap band surgery, and I ended up losing a lot of weight. And I went from basically a size 24 right down to a size 10. And which was great. It was, and the first like 80 pounds I dropped, I then fell pregnant, and it's like, hang on, I defied the odds, because my doctor just told me that, I'm not going to ever have any children, blah 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 blah. And then suddenly I went back to him by the time I had my third child, and he's like, you had what? And I went, yeah, I've got my third child right now. And then he became my obstetrician. And so would it be really, really funny for me to go back to Australia right now and go to the same obstetrician and tell him I've now had 5 children? Yes, Veronica?
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I totally forgot to, do I have permission, ma'am, to record? So sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I uploaded to the video, to the, my YouTube channel. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's okay. I've got it. I got it handled. It's all good.
It's not letting me record. So okay, well,
yeah, that's
somehow
okay.
we gotta put it up on the channel.
Like, I'll send it to you. It's fine.
Okay, thank you, Mom.
It's fine. Don't stress. So so basically, if I went back to my obstetrician right now, he'd be like astounded with me. And of course, I went through my periods of I got big, I got little, got big, got little, and it was never ever regulated, because there is no way to regulate your hormones when you have such a syndrome like that. And so I went through boot camps, like 12-week boot camps, 6-week boot camps. And when we're talking grueling like boot camps, CrossFit to the 10th degree, and nope, nothing. But I spent, I think, like, was that one program or one boot camp I spent almost $1,000 on, and the personal trainer that was doing it, he's like, oh, you need to jump on the scales after a week and see what you've done, and blah 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 blah. And I jumped on the scales, and I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at the scales, and I'm looking at him, and I'm about to cry, and I'm like, I've only lost 1 kilo. I'm like, all that mofo work, and
Oh,
it
that's
did
frustrating.
nothing. It did absolutely nothing. I've
Frustrating.
had doctors try and put me onto metformin. That crap does not work at all. Zero.
You know what? You know
Makes
what?
things
There's a
worse.
doctor. Sorry, there's a doctor here that. Oh, I couldn't believe it. I lost my gallbladder to this. I was taking phentermine shots or whatever they call them,
Hmm.
and I I was angry most of the time. I would work out like even I work out like 3 hours to 3.5 hours now, like 3 or 4 times a week. But back
What
then I
was
was
the name of the
working out
drug
more.
again?
Metformin.
So
Phentermine. Oh yeah, yeah.
phentermine.
Oh,
So
That's
they
a pretty well-established drug, actually.
and then
But it
they
didn't work for you.
no, it actually did. But I was getting shots. I was getting shots of vitamin B12, the medication, and I look like Michael Jackson. I love you, Michael Jackson. But I literally like bony and and it's like it also I feel it has had to do with, I know Katie talked about this before, the body deformity that we have as kids, because I would always see my mom pop the pills to lose weight, and she would also make herself throw up, and I had to take out the garbage, and I'm like, no, I don't want to take this, is so gross. Like, I saw that, and in the 80s I saw the magazines of the women that had the black under here and they were skinny as F, like really, really skinny. And so I grew up with all that, and I'm like, I to this day, like, and
I think we should clarify that the phentermine is a pill and the B12 shots were the shots.
yes, go ahead.
Like, yep, that's all. That's it.
Thank you.
And I will just mention too that this show is not for the purposes of medical advice. This is opinions of the hosts and their stories. And so
Yeah, it's our stories, guys.
these are our stories and our
yeah.
opinions. This is not this show is not intended for medical advice at all. It's just entertainment purposes only. Going back to what I was going to say before is when I had the lap band. See, lap band is what they for a lot of women who do have polycystic ovarian syndrome, they end up getting a good amount of them end up getting lap band surgery because it's one of the easiest and effective way. Well, I'm not going to say the easiest because and I'll explain this in a minute, but it's one of the forms that they actually offer you if exercise, and of course exercise and the physiology of it all and your hormones and everything else all as a combined, your diet as well is not working. So I had to go through 5 different specialists in order to actually approve me for lap band because it is an invasive surgery. And if no one knows what lap band surgery is, if I'm going to show you. This here, pretend that this here is my stomach, and you just pretend that my bowels and everything else, my intestines and everything is over there, okay? Lap band, what they do, and this here is your esophagus, where all your food goes before it goes into the stomach. What they do is they put a ring right here around the opening of your, between the esophagus and the stomach, and they pull a piece of skin from the lining over the organs or whatever you call it. That's all I can think of. But they stitch it in place by pulling a piece of skin over there so it holds it in place. Now, and of course,
it's an actual band, right?
Yeah, it is an actual band, and it has a tube which basically sits right near your diaphragm or somewhere up there. It's like an outlet. And so basically, it really doesn't hurt. And what they do, the band itself is like the equivalent to a rubber tire, like a car tire or something like that. Just a tube.
A zipper tie.
Yes. And so, well, not quite like that, actually. It's just a ring that can be inflated. And the outlet, so basically it's connected to an outlet which is embedded, like the tubing itself is embedded under the skin, and they what they do is in order to inflate it and deflate it, they put a needle right into the outlet and they inflate it up and down. Easy. The more they inflate it, the smaller the opening to the stomach is from the esophagus. And then when they deflate it, the more food can go through. I had the lap band in for 9 years, and I kid you not, one of the worst things that could ever happen to me was that I suffered from involuntary bulimia, and and it
I
wasn't.
think they call it purging. Like just you can't get it down, so it just comes back.
Yeah, so you actually, and it's painful, it really is. But it's actually called involuntary bulimia because it becomes psychological at the same time because you're in pain, you have to bring it back up. So, unlike everything, they have to diagnose you with something. So, but yeah, but that's basically what it is that you are, and so what happens is you're supposed to go onto a nice diet. You're supposed to go eat your food and all that kind of stuff. Because most people don't know that you're supposed to chew your food for at least 1 minute before you swallow and then take the next bite because it takes 1 minute for it to get down from the mouth to the esophagus and into the stomach. And the faster you eat, that means you've got just chug-a-lugging all that food and not allowing it to process with the end result of that's why we overeat, is because we don't recognize when we're full. And so when a person suffers from involuntary bulimia as a result of a lap band surgery, what happens is you tend to screw up your diet completely because psychologically you're going, well, I can't have that piece of steak because that piece of steak is going to hurt me. And so you tend to go for mashed potatoes and gravy. And so and of course, there are foods that you can't eat, like indigestible foods like celery, anything with a husk, corn, peas, all went out the window, beans went out the window. There goes half of the good food group that we're supposed to eat, and we can't eat it anymore because I can't digest it.
When I was, thank you, Katie. When I was weighing 271 pounds, I was supposed to get what they call 3/4. What is it? Half of my stomach out or something? Or 3/4 of my stomach out. They wanted to do that surgery.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. But by 2015, 2015, I was 6 months pregnant with my son, Junior, and all of a sudden I couldn't eat, I couldn't keep anything down, I couldn't drink, I couldn't do nothing. Got rushed into hospital. Got to keep in mind here that I'm 6 months pregnant. And the doctor does an x-ray on me and said, oh, your band has slipped. My band was suffocating my stomach and it was dying in the process. They had to rush me into the OR without a split of a thought. And literally I got rushed in within like 90 minutes. It was that fast. And they put me under and had to remove it. And by the time I came back out, they said, I'm sorry, we've successfully removed your band, but you also have partial necrosis of the stomach. We've just had to remove 1/4 of your stomach because it was black and dead. Yep. And so that's one of the biggest side effects of lap band that they really don't tell you, but they do the gastric bypass surgery as if, that's a great alternative. But gastric bypass surgery is invasive. And not only that, lap band surgery is not as invasive, but is very dangerous. And just like all surgeries, you always
there's
have
also
a
the
risk.
one that reroutes the stomach to like directly to the small intestine as well. And
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up, what it's called. I don't remember. There's like 2 of them. And they in 2 phases sometimes.
Yeah. But I mean,
Obviously, being a teacher, there's a lot of teachers that get this. I wonder why, right? Because it's incredibly stressful and there's really not an outlet. So people seem to, over the course of the first 10 years of their teaching, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's very stressful. I don't know how you guys do it, but thank you for.
I've been just amazed being able to keep it off because until I changed my diet and just the way I process things, I got heavy as soon as they started having kids. And then I would lose so much. And I would say kind of hover around 125, 130, which is not bad for my height, my age, and everything. But it's weird, like after everything that I've been through and menopause and all the weight loss, my body keeps wanting to stay between like 100 and 112, like high school. That's what I thought has been so strange because I've heard the same wives' tales, the same things like my mom, like, oh, it's going to be genetics. You're going to be heavy like I've always been, like your grandma was. Like we all just have a big butt and a, big belly. And I was able to get rid of the gut, but I very rarely will eat grains with gluten or gluten-like substances.
What's your problem with big butt? I like big butt.
It's just weird. It's just weird how it just like everything I was told.
I'm just kidding.
And so I guess I just ended up being one of the ones that ends up on the small side of things, which, it can be hurtful both ways. I mean, there's people that I still hear all the time, people that haven't seen me in a while, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, like Amaria, you look so skinny and bony. You need to eat something. Or, I'm so worried about your health," or things like that. And I'm just like, I don't go up to you and say, "God, you're so fat lately."
The other thing,
I hate it when people do that.
The other thing is too.
My grandma, she would do that all the time. Go ahead.
And it's pretty much the same thing. And I'm saying it that way just to make it hit a little bit for those that are listening. I know a lot of times there's the girls that are like upset because they struggle. Love wherever you are. If you're, curvy, if you're small and, like me, I've got small frame with it's muscular and lean. But, I think being able to figure out where we are as far as energetically, our physical body, hormonally, as long as we can feel, I think, as healthy as we can and be in our power and just realize how beautiful we are truly inside and be able to outreach and help other women learn you're beautiful no matter what. I mean, whenever you listen to men, I've actually got a relationship coach that we've been listening to a lot of what men say when they look at women. You guys would not believe it because we beat each other up so much and ourselves up so much. Men don't care. They see that gorgeous, sexy body, and if it's curvy or thin or whatever, that person that's loving you is going to love you exactly the way you are.
Well, okay. Some men will say.
Well, some, yeah.
Okay, I've been at the gym and I've talked to my friends. I have a lot of guy friends there, and they're like, I don't date women that are overweight. They tell me because they feel. One of the guys was telling me that they feels that, I'm over here taking care of my body and myself. This guy's hot. Okay. And he's like, I don't know if I don't want to be with the woman that's not going to take care of herself. He said when he was married, he would get so mad that all his wife was doing is just sitting there in front of the TV and eating, not taking care of herself, and he's over here taking care of himself. And so I don't know, you have both. Now, let's go to the other side. I have a really good friend. He's my SSP brother. He's always saying, Beth, why did you lose all that weight? You looked really good at what you were weighing, 271 pounds. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I was having a lot of back issues. My boobs were 46H plus an extender.
Oh,
damn.
Ouch.
All kinds of medication, epidural shots, forget about it. I had to do it for me.
A lot of weight.
These are my boobs. I'm down to, this is a sex show, so it's okay to talk about this. I'm down now to a 34 triple D. But still, to this day, I want to get I want to get a reduction, and I want to get a tummy tuck. And it's like, it's been a tough to just accept myself, how I look, because I've lost all that weight. No matter how much I work on my triceps, it's all, it's flabby here. And I don't know if it has to do with the body self thing again, deformity, or what.
It could be age though too. I think a lot of times we have less collagen, because I've noticed even with my bum, I mean, where I've lost a lot of weight, where I was heavier, like the skin does tend to sag just a little bit more, and like the stretch marks have lightened. They're like white now instead of where they used to be like purple or whatever.
Yeah,
but
like if when I do the real quick the squatting and the deadlifting, that totally helped my
Oh,
butt
really?
and my legs look great. It's just that
Awesome.
I don't know if I think it could be with genetics too because my
Mm.
grandmother and my great grandmother, oh my gosh, their arms were so
Well, here's
long.
the thing. Here's the thing. When I was investigating polycystic ovarian syndrome, I also found out that one, it runs in the genetics of women in families. And I'm thinking, hang on. So I'm looking at my mother, going, "Mom, did you have any problems with any of this stuff?" And she's like, she was trying to think. It's just like I don't know if that was normal or not. But here's the thing. I also found out too that polycystic ovarian syndrome also runs in families. But you know how with like the likelihood of twins skips a
Mm.
generation. Well, same with polycystic ovarian syndrome. It skips a
Recessive.
generation, but it also,
Recess. Is it
huh?
recessive?
I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. But what I do know is that with a woman who picks up polycystic ovarian syndrome, it actually passes on to the firstborn male,
Hmm.
firstborn son.
That's called sex-linked recessive.
There you go.
So it'd be your dad's mother that you need to ask about. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I derailed you. Keep going.
No, that's cool. No, no, that was interesting.
I'm laughing
I learn
because
something new every day.
you guys, I'm laughing because Shannon's like, girl, she says, just roll them up and tuck them in, girl. That's
Ah,
what I'm
that's
gonna do.
hilarious. Oh my God. Ah, that's some hush puppies there. You gotta roll them suckers up. That's so funny. Love it.
I love my
Love it.
boobs. It's all good. Uh. Anyway, I just have a moment. Uh, hey, but no, but at the end of the day, a lot of us women have gone into this whole thing of we're hormonally imbalanced, or we're not eating right, or we don't look good for the fact of our male counterparts or female counterparts, whatever the case may be. It goes round and round and round in circles, and we spend, doesn't matter whether we're in perimenopause or whether we're in our teens going through our pubescence, or whether we're going into menopause, we're still having up and down issues with our body, and that in effect causes our self-esteem. And then of course we all want to go out and get those surgeries because we're just uncomfortable with what we have, because we're either in pain, or we don't like the way that we look, or we just can't, or there's a health problem that it really needs to be addressed. But 9 times out of 10, a lot of it is psychological.
I muted myself, but yep, absolutely, because it's not self-love, and so there's a lot of things that we need to heal.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Well, even back, what was it? We were talking about abandonment and different traumas earlier too. Yeah, I totally agree with that, because there's a lot of those that I've gone through and that I've still been working through, like different altars that I've been integrating. And it's crazy how, like, with me, a lot of times I used to, when I had a lot of food addictions, I would get like breads and sugars and I would eat whenever I was down. But it's like now I lose my appetite. And so I have to remind myself, if I haven't, like, okay, do you have your vitamins, minerals? Have you done, basic nutrients? If you want to do a fast, that's fine. Have you drank enough liquid so that you're hydrated? If you fasted for so long, then have you had a meal? And so just kind of working with my cycle, because I've noticed as long as I keep on like the intermittent fasting cycle, that I'm feeling more level, and like the tendency for that, like the blues and the depression to creep in. It's really been helping a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Amaria. Yeah, it also helps to work out. I do a lot of water with apple cider vinegar,
Oh, yes.
and that totally helps with belly fat. It does. I see a difference. Also, I'll do like water with a little bit of baking soda, and you can add some lemon if you have it. If not, just chug it. And it's like a picot. It helps to, and a lot of women I find that I've spoken to didn't understand what I'm understanding now, and that's why I'm glad we're doing the show. Is that the probiotics? I would be listening to probiotic stuff all the time, and I had no idea what the hell that was. It's like, why do I need it? And once I went to Mexico, when was it? Like a few years ago. One time when I went, kids were really small. I think it was like in 2005, and I was having a lot of stomach issues, and they said, oh, you have H. pylori, and I'm like, what the hell? So it was a bacteria, supposedly, if you go, across the country, that you can get it, or across the border or whatever. And I'm like, what? I mean, I've eaten, Mexican food, all kinds of food. It doesn't matter, since I was a kid. So maybe, I don't know. But
Veronica, that can happen with antibiotics just over time, and
oh,
a
really?
lot that is really, really common, A. pylori. Yeah. So
Okay,
it's just
thanks for
like
telling.
it's when it like completely throws up off the bio whatever of your gut. So yeah, it's just an overabundance of one of the probiotics or more.
Well,
So
okay.
it's very common.
You said antibiotic or probiotic? Because I had never taken probiotics until this last year, which is helping. But you said I heard okay, so my mom, since I was a kid, she would give me penicillin shots.
Oh, well, that
Every
would be why. That would probably be a big reason why. So because it strips your I'm getting thrown off, but that environment gets thrown off. So there's an imbalance of the right kind of probiotics. And so you have to like figure out how to like start over from scratch. Yep. It's very common, actually.
Thank you, because now it makes sense. So okay, I was gonna ask you all, we were talking about, us being women, and either being, loving ourselves, either being overweight or not. Should we shift into, okay, I have had I had someone I was engaged to, and I couldn't do it anymore. He had erectile dysfunction, and I just couldn't do it anymore. It's psychological, right, Katie? We were talking about this the other day. Now, some men are so addicted to porn that they cannot perform with their lady. Okay. So
I know what you're talking
take
about.
It away.
So, here we go.
Take it away.
No, I honestly, a very, very high amount of portion, a high portion to what you're talking about in terms of erectile dysfunction. We're calling, there's a word for it. It is not so much to do with the fact that it is a health problem, and yes, there is a very real problem with sexual dysfunction. However, I will say that that majority of men I can't remember the word. Somebody fill me in while I look it up. Just there's a word for it. It is not to do with it's not to do with dysfunction itself. It's more or less got to do with
performance anxiety.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. There's actually a word for it. It's not performance.
Okay, I have a question.
But it's exactly what you're talking about, though.
Performance anxiety. So some women, I know I've talked to some women that can't have an orgasm because, I don't know, they just don't love the guy, man. They just, I don't know, they're just like
psychological, my dear. Psychological.
I've been with guys that there's times I couldn't, just because there's no connection. It's like the sex was so animalistic, but I mean, there's times when you want that, but it's like you got to have that connection. You've already got to have the arousal, and that's one thing that I've learned with sexuality, with exploring myself and doing tantra, as well as just basically being a beta sex having that whenever you can hold that arousal. That's what a lot of people, I think, that I noticed when I wasn't having orgasms with a man, I was worried about that. Like, oh, am I going to have an orgasm, or am I really feeling it? Am I with it with him? Or are we just going through the motions? I wasn't feeling any connection. It was just kind of that, okay, he jumped on, he fucked me, and we were done.
Right, like when they don't look at you and I speak from experience. Like when I was married for 18.5 years, so it kind of like he would just look at the wall, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
but the other thing is too is that
where are you?
there's a very, I mean, two-thirds of women couldn't even care less about the orgasm whatsoever. It's about the connection.
Really?
The
It's about
connection
connection.
is
Could you
more
not
about
care
the
about the
connection,
orgasm?
because a lot of women are more satisfied with the fact that they have, and this is what gets me the most, is that the guys that just like, well, what's done is done. I'm gonna roll over and go to sleep. It's like, what the hell? They're
Hell no.
part of that orgasm or the feeling of arousal or the feeling of euphoria as a part of having sex is that cuddling, that connection, that afterwards. And so if that's
Right.
not there, the connection is kind of broken. It's like, okay, well, even if a woman didn't have an orgasm and the cuddling wasn't there, it's like, well, okay, what the hell did I just have sex for? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's when you feel
I
It was that bury your face
pointless.
and go, and I hated that.
it's
Two of
Yeah,
my two of my
Sorry, go
girlfriends
ahead,
have
go ahead.
had. Sorry, Veronica. Two of my girlfriends have had relationships where that was because of what you were talking about, the porn addiction, really derailed anything physical, and it's incredibly painful. I mean, yeah, I don't want to get into personal things that they both experience, but it is actually a real thing. That there was no failure to launch in the physical reality, and one of them felt very strongly that she was cheated on.
Mhm.
So it is a thing.
And the other thing is too is that performance anxiety, especially in regards to premature ejaculation or a sexual dysfunction of any type, is the fact that, and even this can apply to women too, is that men and women have to act a certain way during sex because they've seen it on a porn video. That's just the way that it happens. It's just like the women who squirt, for instance. There's a difference
Wait, are you
between.
talking crap about women that squirt? No, just kidding. I'm a squirter. I didn't know what I was.
What's that?
I didn't know. Wait.
Hell
You guys. Yay! Woo! Thanks for bringing it
oh,
up.
girl.
You know why?
Oh,
You know
girl.
why? Because I was told in that relationship, we're not gonna, that long years and years of relationship. He was saying, "Do you pee on yourself?" I'm like, "What? No." And I started investigating myself. I got into porn myself, right? Because I wasn't being satisfied at home. So I got into porn, and then I'm like, what? Why do women?
No, the stuff
Blah,
that
blah,
you
blah, blah.
see,
But
the
it
stuff you
wasn't that.
see in porn, the stuff
No,
you see
well,
in
because I
porn
had
is,
to research for myself, girl. This was back in the day. Nobody told me nothing. Okay, my mom would send me to school, and I had to go to school, learn about sex and the bees and all that crap. But anyway, so I was looking up this thing. I'm like, what's going on with me? Am I peeing on the bed? Because I know I'm not. And it's actually a beautiful thing that some of us women can do, and that's squirting. So Katie, take it away. Put you on the
yes.
spot.
So, yes, for women who don't know how to squirt, I suggest you try and figure it out. No, I'm kidding. No, for those who actually don't know how to squirt, especially for women who want to know, there's many ways of doing it, but it does take a long time to actually master it. But the stuff you see on porn is not even real. Half of the time they're using pineapple juice, like for real.
Wow.
Pineapple and apple juice. It's
We're a squirt circle. I love you, Shannon. You know, it's funny. Like,
funny.
I figured out on accident that I could squirt because when I was with a guy, I never did. But I was stimulating myself, and I had had a few clitoral orgasms, and I was still going, you know, and you just are really powered up. And so I just kept going and going. And I ended up with a deep G-spot orgasm and a Kundalini burst. And I was just like, ugh. I thought I pissed myself at first. I was like, oh shit.
You guys, I'm laughing because forget Shannon. She's like, can I say it?
We need
We're
snacks.
the
No, I'm kidding.
circle. She said we're the circle.
Oh shit.
Shannon's left to the bathroom.
Oh, it's all over now. No.
I love it.
But it really does. For a woman, though, a woman should really really trial her body in terms of, and I do suggest, for if you're not already doing it, actually go solo, because you can figure out where your spots are, where you can be pleased, where you can, so you don't have, because just like a man, a woman can have performance anxiety. And so, it's not just about, oh, no, I'm not in the moment, so therefore I've got no connection, so therefore I'm not going to orgasm. It's just the fact that, we naturally are attuned, majority of women are naturally attuned to their bodies, so it only sees fit that we actually test run ourselves before we venture out. And that's why, there's a massive promotion for, especially among the womanhood or the sisterhood circles, and that we say, hey, yeah, go out and get toys, go out and play with yourself in a good way, try and see what works for you, see what doesn't work for you. That's what's gonna help enhance your intimate relationships at the end of the day. And I've said on many previous shows that just because a man can ejaculate doesn't mean a woman can't ejaculate, because we very much do. And so there've been many times where, I've had women saying, oh, well, I can't get this and I can't get that. I'm like, well, what are you doing wrong? Are you using your fingers right? Are you using your hands right? Are you using a toy right? What are you doing wrong? Or is your mind not right to get into that? And what have you tried to enhance to getting to that point where you can reach that orgasm that you so want? Or is it a health problem?
Right. Can I just talk about lube?
Right.
I use coconut oil. Coconut oil organic. Katie?
Sorry.
I really like the Wicked brand. If you ever want to do a water-based brand that's a purchased product, that's the one I go for because it's the most natural that I've found. And you can get a warming, but I don't like it because there's more chemicals. But that one I'm really well on because it's really silky smooth. And you don't, it's like, how it's like some of them feel sticky when you're done and it's all, This one, I've noticed it doesn't, it feels nice.
That's, thank you, Amaria. That's why I like coconut oil, because you don't have any
Yeah.
and it's natural and it's organic. I mean, come on.
That's so
it's
good
organic for your orgasms.
Right.
Now,
The organic orgasm.
When I use this, Crystal, I don't need any lube. Isn't that weird? So,
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if we call it lube. That's so bad. What do you
I know, right?
If you
Well, like sometimes if I don't have any like oil or anything, I mean, I have like spit on my hand and used my own saliva to, get stuff started. But, as long as I keep my teeth pretty clean and flossed and my tongue scraped. So I'm not afraid of the bacteria just because my hygiene for me is impeccable. I don't like dirty mouths. Oh, that's good. Anyway, so I definitely work on my hygiene. I really
That's good
like
that you brought that up, because a lot of women don't take care of themselves. Now, when me growing up, my grandmother and my mother, they would always have like this little tacita, this little cup or whatever, behind the toilet area, because they showed me, hey, you gotta wash yourself. We women sweat, blah blah blah. You got to take care of yourself. The hygiene, oh my God, the hygiene when we grew up, it was like extreme.
Huge.
So to me, when I do have, when I decide if I'm going to have sex or whatever, I'm very careful, of course, who I pick, because I'm not going to be doing it just with anybody. But that's just me. I'm always like taking, having to take a shower first, or making sure that I did that before I go on the date. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you never know. And then the shaving, I like to shave my legs. I like, there's some women now, and I agree with Katie about porn. That's not the way to go. If you need education, that's why I'm glad we're doing more of these shows. But like, so shaving, some women, they'll shave everything down there. Okay, they'll do the Brazilian wax, right? But some women like to keep it half, half.
Yeah, I've seen some people, they like to have that landing strip. So
hey.
It's fine. I don't know. That's some of my friends call it their landing strip, but I'm like, dude, the only hair on my body is my eyelashes, eyebrows, and the hair on my head. Because I'm sorry, I'm a hybrid. I don't do hair except for this. I'm like slick as snot, girl.
How about you, Katie or Shannon?
Am I going to answer that? No. No, I honestly, I've had my moments. I'm up and down with it all. So, but I'm definitely not French.
You don't want the French look? Come on, what are you doing?
What's the French look? What's the French look? I have no idea.
Huh?
What's the French look?
French are hairy.
Oh.
Armpits included.
I have French in my blood. Yeah, so yeah, okay, never mind. It's not like we're Chewbacca either, but go ahead. Anything else we want to talk about?
Oh, we were talking about the jade eggs earlier. I brought mine.
Oh yeah, let's do the we're gonna talk about
yoga exercises. Because if there's been times like I love trampoline. Right now it's not up because my landlord's kind of weird, but like whenever I would jump, there would be times I would just pee, or like if I was coughing or laughing, and it's so embarrassing. Like if you gotta go somewhere and then you just piss all over yourself. Girls, these are amazing. It's jade, and I like that they have a little string. You can use them without, but basically what you're doing is you insert them up as far into your body as you can, and then just kind of hold on to them and squeeze and pull them up. And if you're up and the gravity's pulling them down, like especially with the heavier egg, these will come out pretty easily if you're not paying attention to your pelvic floor. But like whenever you start to feel them drop, you just kind of pull up on your pelvic floor and it brings them back up into the vaginal area. But it helps with your urination, because like I have control now. Even if I have to pee and I cough or I laugh or jump, I don't wet myself anymore. I love these so much.
So you just hold them in pretty much?
Yeah, you just hold them in. Like you start with the smaller. You can do it for like 10-15 minutes. Like so you get out of the bath and you're kind of getting ready. You could just kind of hold it up in there. Just remember, because I've like fallen asleep with them in, forgot I got up to pee, and then it's like thump in the toilet. I'm like, oh shit. So I gotta wash it.
That's funny. That is funny.
Don't forget to mention that you can do Yanni yoga and those pelvic floor exercises without the egg, especially for those that have had some trauma. It's okay to try to activate those pelvic floor muscles without the jade egg. Sorry, just want to intervene. Sorry.
No, it does make sense. I did start the pelvic floor muscles beforehand without, and so yeah, it's just that basically grabbing on, kind of like where it feels like you're kind of pulling up, or like if for those that have been sexually active and you've had whenever you're doing it, and sometimes you want to squeeze those muscles or whatever around in the vaginal area all the way to the pelvic floor, like what's the perineum area, you kind of feel it pull up into you. And that would be that you're just holding up, and you hold those muscles as long as you can, and then release and relax, and then hold them up. And then also when you're urinating, allow the stream to come and then stop the stream. And it's hard at first. It's like it keeps wanting to go, but just kind of relax and hold the muscles in and let it stop, and you'll drip. And then go ahead and pee again, and then hold, and then pee again, and then hold. And that's some other ones that you could do that help.
Yeah,
And it's so worth it.
Yeah, that's what they kind of taught me. I had 3 bladder surgeries, and so now I can run without peeing on myself, thank goodness. But when I'm on the leg press, when I'm doing like a lot of weight on the leg press, oh my gosh, I have to wear a pad because forget about it, even if it's just a little. But one of some women, they won't be able to run because they're constantly, having these little accidents, or even if you do like how do you say, the jump roping, or what do they call these ones that you're
Star jumps.
Yeah, the jumps, yeah. So, but anyway, it was tough having those 3 surgeries. My goodness, they had placed some mesh, and that mesh went wrong. Went jumping jacks. Thank you. Yes, that's what it was called. So yeah. So then they took the mesh out, and then it didn't work. That's when I, started getting all this stuff, the heart failure crap, and the hives on my legs. It was crazy. Then I've had total of 3 surgeries, guys. It's crazy. I was gonna say something. There's another cleansing that you could do with tampons. They have like the herbs and all that herbal, some kind of natural organic stuff that you can put inside, and then it just kind of flushes.
That's such a good idea. I never would have thought to use the tampon as a delivery system, but that makes so much sense. You could even put like colloidal silver and like maybe some raw apple cider vinegar if you have a yeast infection. Because I've done that just treating, but I'm like, God, that would hold it in so much better. Huh.
And that's another thing too with the yeast infections or bacterial infections and stuff like that. A lot of women, I know that you guys might know about it, but a lot of women, especially nowadays, they all go, I gotta go to CVS, I gotta go to the local pharmacy, I gotta go get this cream, and I've gotta go do this. But what we don't realize is that we can go get some yogurt. Go get some yogurt. Do what we gotta do.
Yogurt.
But we don't get taught that often anymore because we're so used to just running to CVS to find that quick fix.
Or if you're really sexually active a lot and notice that fishy smell, you can make your own douche. Just like use a little bit of baking soda in the water.
The problem with douching though is that one, it should only be done either once a week, and then should be only maintenance after that, because douching can actually really ruin ruin your flora and fauna of your vagina. The other thing is that I've gone through many stages, and I'm like, okay, because I went through a period back in my younger years where I would get bacterial vaginosis, and
that sucks
that really sucks. And I'm sitting there going, why the hell is this reoccurring? And I'm like going. And so the doctor was having a look at it and said, oh, I know why. And I said, why? Because you're too clean. So there is such a thing.
That makes sense. Because I had bacterial vaginosis a lot, but I also have trichotillomania. I'm trying to remember what you call it. It's trick, but it's sexually transmitted disease my ex-husband had got. But it doesn't mean... It's like a little bacteria type thing, but you can get it from eating food from people that handled food. He lived in Mexico for a while in Veracruz. And so he picked up different things. And then whenever we met and got married and everything, I ended up with pelvic inflammatory disease for about 18 months. And talk about, I get the bacterial vagina.
Yeah, but because like that's where PIV comes from. That's crazy, PID comes. It stems from bacterial vaginosis. It's like the next disease up in terms of the hierarchy of vaginal issues. And so
you know what?
It was crazy that it, like, once they figured out what it was, all it took was the simple flagell, and then I re-established my flora, and I've never had a problem since. So it's fascinating how just that. Weird.
Yeah, so I mean,
trichotillomania. If you've ever trichotillomania is a different
for women.
Oh yes, that's the hair pulling. It's trichotillomoniasis, I think is what it's called. I know she's like laughing. Thank you for correcting me. I I know some of the like the trichotillomania, pulling the hair out, like eyelashes, hair, eyebrows, whatever. Is so, but it's like trichotillomoniasis, I think is what it's called. It's like a really long. They call it trick. It's like a type of a protozoa type thing. Like it's an animal, a little critter. So they had to kill it. But yeah, thank you, Steph or Shannon. So I'm like, oh crap, that's a good thing to do.
That's funny. Okay, two things. Trichotillomania. I have a tendency to like pluck my eyebrows out. So I did that since I was little. Because
that's like a nervous habit.
Right. So now only half of my eyebrow grows.
Oh no.
Yeah, anyway.
I overplucked in the 90s.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I was gonna say is a lot of women, and I won't say who because they talk to me, but there's one particular person that said that she would always get UTIs and that the doctor kept telling her it's because her clitoris is very close to her, I don't know, her duct or something, her either the urinary tract on her is very close, I should say, to her vagina area. So it's short.
And that's the other thing is too, is that retro.
Oh, so she has a smaller clitoris. Is her like labia like malformed, or is it just the clitoris that's?
It's the labia is bigger than the other area, and it's closer. Like
the other thing is too, the opposite to what you're trying to say is that you can also have a retroverted uterus, which also stimulates UTIs as well. I don't know if you know what do you know what a retroverted uterus?
They told me that I have I had a cervix that was like sideways. Is that the same thing?
Yeah. No, a retroverted uterus means that your uterus is, so let's just say, think of it in, let's just say pipes. I don't know. I'm going to use my fingers as pipes. Pipes. No, you'll get what I'm saying in a minute. But but no. So this is the uterus, right? And the canal, right? But a shut up. A retroverted uterus means that your uterus and your anal. Shut up, you two.
I have a retrofitted.
I'm done.
Retrofitted vagina. I'm out of here.
But no, so a retroverted uterus basically means that your uterus and your anal canal is actually complete. They're aligned with each other. And so women who, about 30% of women actually do have it. It sometimes can mean a complicated pregnancy because that means the baby's on the spine. Because that means because basically a retroverted uterus means it's pointing to the back. And so that's why you have that's why I kind of say the alignment. But people who do have retroverted uterus, if they have mastered their bodies, can also have anal orgasms as well.
Well, I thought everybody could have anal orgasms. I know I do. No?
I've never experienced the anal one. I mean, I tried a couple of times, but it was so painful just from the projects that, where we had been forced anal sex.
Yeah, each to their own though. But no, if you're gonna go down that route, just use some lube.
Yeah, and then you know what? I want to clarify something, okay? A lot of people, they've been telling. One person said, one time at band camp, so I was talking to a man, and I was counseling or whatever, and he was saying, well, anal sex is okay because the Mormon Church considers it, and you would know. I don't know if he's right or wrong, Amaria. But it's not considered a sin or sex if you have anal sex. So all these, a lot of these men are having anal sex with women, and they're still virgins, and it's like it doesn't make sense. It's still fucked
and I don't
up.
know where they heard that.
I said about
Interesting. I
what?
don't know where they heard that.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's interesting because in the Mormon church, the way I was taught that anything sexual, they said even like kissing, petting, necking, if you kiss, it shouldn't be very long. You should never lay down. You should never be sitting on a guy. Like they were so strict with us. With dancing, they're like, keep your arms apart. Don't put your bodies together. They would pull us apart if we would put our bodies together. Any like petting, they considered anything from the neck down, like rubbing the bodies, oral, anything, anal, vaginal. If it is sexually arousing you, stimulating you, then yeah, the church frowns upon it. So I don't know who comes up with some of those wives' tales. Like they're very, very, very strict. They're like, okay, wait till you're married before you have really major intimacy. No sex before marriage, which I mean, I still like to. I guess it's a habit. I think it's healthier for me. Is I don't do sex with guys. Like I joke about it, and yes, I am very sexual if I'm in a committed relationship, but I'm not. I've never been promiscuous. I've always been very loyal to whatever man I'm with. But until there's that actual commitment of, you're my woman, I'm your man, I'm not gonna fuck a guy. And I might make out with them and do other stuff, but for me, it's just that energetic exchange is so sacred, and I get so bonded that I'm just like, ugh. It needs to be a very, very, that I know that it's either going to that commitment and it's pretty much there, or that's established, because for me, that's such a sacred thing.
Yeah, I relate with you, Amaria, because I'm very careful, like, and I counsel this a lot. It's like a lot of women are like, well, man, why am I feeling depressed after I slept with this guy or whatever? It's because of the demons that are attached to that guy, the archetype.
Yes,
very careful who you're gonna have sex with.
That Kunda buffer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that false reptilian tail. And it's actually, Lisa Renee talks about that on the Ascension Glossary. And I've done the meditation for it, which has been amazing on helping to release that, the sexual trauma. But then anyone, like with my first husband, he would brag that by the time he was 21, he had 77 women. And so I basically fucked every woman that he fucked, but also every man that each one of those women fucked. Because all of those energies come into your yoni area, and it's
women naturally absorb the DNA of every man that they've ever been with. That's why when men always question about the DNA of their born children, that why it looks so different, or in whatever way, you actually have mutations after mutations after mutations, because a woman knowing, well, maybe she doesn't know, but any man that she's ever been with has absorbed those DNA of those men. Of course, now you produced a baby, and that baby has whacked out genetics. And then we wonder why we have triple strands, and we have different mutations, and we have all of these other health problems and that come with the mutations. The other thing is too, I was just going to mention too, that I don't know if you ever heard of the precancerous lesions.
I haven't actually.
I'm actually, yeah. I actually have a warning for the rest of my life, or at least until well after menopause. Well, actually, no, not really, because I'm not excluded from that. But no, I also have to watch out. Once a year, I have to get tested, or at least once a year, for the precursorous lesion for cervical cancer. And so that is genetic. That is something that I have to watch out for. Unfortunately, that's not something that I can actually control. So unfortunately, it's just one thing that, and this is why I emphasize women to, get themselves a check. Even if you don't like to go to the doctor, go get yourself checked out, because our reproductive systems, and that includes our boobs, are very vital, and if we get sick from any of those, that it's all over Red Rover, because our reproductive systems can kill us potentially. Eventually it can kill us if we're not looking after ourselves. And that I'm not talking about the other extremities like heart failure and all of the other ones. But reproductive health is number one. Reproductive health is where our hormones are regulated. Reproductive health is also where a lot of our other health problems can be regulated from. Not all of them, but some of them. And so it is vital for us women to be checked out. Just like, our breasts, getting a mammogram, getting ourselves checked out. Even at my age, I'd be like, well, hang on, because one time I went into the doctor's office and I'm like, well, I can, I had a full physical. And I think it was like 30, how old was I? 30, 31. And the doctor said to me, he goes, you need to go get checked out. You got a lump. And I'm like going, huh? I do? Like, really? And so this is why I say they emphasize over the age of a certain age. So 50, 55, or 45 or whatever. But I'm emphasizing and saying, no, our reproduction system and plus our bodies are vital to our health. Therefore, we need to get checked more regularly to make sure that these things don't happen.
And I guess for me, I disagree. I don't, and I will never have a mammogram because I believe the radiation causes worse problems, and just what Big Pharma did to me. Personally, I think for me, it's the nutrition, it's the mindset, it's making sure that I'm alkaline. Because when I had stage 3 adrenocortico carcinoma, basically there's like a lining around the adrenal glands that inflames up, and because I had Addison's disease. I had to get alkaline, and so I've done a lot of juicing and like moringa. The cannabis oil, Rick Simpson oil, has really helped. But when I got away from the medical system and got into my naturopathy, and my chiropractor was helping me, that's when I started to heal and started to change. And so for me, I actually prefer to just stick with the health route rather than having someone tell me, oh, this is what's going on, when even there could be something like maybe a lump or something, but then I could go back and think, oh, wait, am I more acidic right now? And could that be just something, maybe there's an emotional state? So, I mean, I guess I take more of the spiritual path to it rather than the science.
I mean, you're not incorrect by saying that too, but that's why, I mean, I do practice integrated health. And so therefore, I don't see holistic medicine as as something that has to be everything, all inclusive. Oh my God, there's my son. And so he didn't. Oh my God.
I love it.
Yeah, so basically
cute.
I don't see that holistic medicine, even though I practice it, holistic medicine is not a one size fits all. And so there will be times in a person's life that medical intervention is definitely needed. And so I'm not against, pharmaceuticals or doctors per se. It's just that I would take the alternative route if that was the case that necessarily needed to be taken. But outside of that.
Well, I think our emergency care is definitely some of the best technology that we definitely have right now on the planet. Emergency care. Long-term care is where I start to get into the disagreements, just because, of course, with my own personal history, it was the Western medicine that was actually killing me. And when I went to the Eastern medicine and the native medicine and the natural medicine long term, that's what was actually healing me. And just the emergency medicine, because like where I was at the point, I had to get a hysterectomy or there could have been some major problems. I mean, I was bleeding so much and I was so anemic that the time it would have taken to heal it outweighed just take it out. So I agree. Sometimes we have to have those emergency procedures. Sometimes we have to have maybe a medication shortly, or, always consult that physician so that you have emergency means, but then also ask questions, what's going to be best for my body in the long run, and find out what are the side effects of all these things. And is there alternatives that I can use to help either boost and help it? So I definitely agree where we can balance that and find harmony, especially because everyone's different.
I agree with you, Amaria, because I had one mammogram and they wanted me to come back every year. I don't have a family history of breast cancer. I'm like, I'm not going to keep getting radiated every year to find something that isn't really
Right.
something that's
I mean, if I
highly.
found something crazy, I'd probably be like, check my
Well, yeah.
boobs, but
Well, yeah, yeah. But I also agree with the whole like, you need to go into yourself. Are you finding other reasons that your body's more acidic? Are you having more breakouts of, sorry, but yeast infections? That your body is incredibly acidic if you're doing, if
and
it's,
it could be
it's
systemic candida if you have a lot of yeast
correct,
infections. And
correct.
so that needs to be looked on a systemic and I had to do chelation
Yep.
therapy and rife frequencies to get rid of that.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And I've had bouts of that myself where I need to really hit the probiotics really hard and
Right.
start from scratch because I had a candidate. I wouldn't even say that a Western medicine doctor would say, okay, you have an overgrowth. I could just feel it in my body. There that I don't necessarily feel right. Things are my skin's itchy and skin everywhere.
There's kind of an odor, like a specific odor. Do you notice that? You have like an odor down there, but then also like the breath and the
Yeah,
armpits. I
I don't
noticed that.
necessarily notice
Yeah.
that, but I just feel itchy. I just felt like, it was off. It was wrong. And so like if things are weird everywhere, that it's gonna be, like you said, systemic throughout your body. So it's not, people need to like be their own doctor first. I agree completely.
Yeah, I do agree also on not getting radiated every year. When I was 23, that's when, you know, they had, I had the pre-cervical cancer cells, right, in my cervix, and obviously, and then I had to have a mammogram done, and every year they wanted me to go back, and I was just like, this is crazy. I did it for a while until a few years ago, like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I said no more. But then I went through the menopause thingy, and I was in the shower, and I was hurting so bad. My left boob had this circle. It was a big old, um, it was a huge cyst. And
Oh,
so
I
I
bet that
had
was
to
so
go in
painful.
again. Huh?
I bet that was just so painful.
It was so painful. And my skin on my boob was red. And it was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna have surgery? So I went to get the mammogram done, and they said yes, that had grown. They were not sure if it was due to the gunshot wound that I had or what, but it had grown. And they were mad at me. The lady's like, you should have come every year, because at first they wanted me to go every 6 months when I was 23. I'm like, forget about it. So I told my body, I said, you know what? I told the sis, you're not allowed in my body. I don't accept you. You're gonna have to go away. And a lot of people were like, well, you drink too much coffee. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go into, I understand that there has to be a balance in coffee, but I like my coffee. I already stopped smoking my organic cigarettes. That the
Oh
only
yeah.
we'll say the only bad quote unquote thing that they would say is like coffee. So it's like I just adjusted my body. I started working out more, and I started just talking to my cells and my DNA and saying, you are null and void in my body, and I do not accept you. Maybe you served as a purpose, but no, you're no longer serving a purpose in my body. And I thank you for the time and service that you brought, which may sound dumb and silly, but I'm like, no, no, no. You're no longer wanted or needed in this body. And that's how I speak to myself. And it hasn't bothered me at all. So I was not going to go have surgery, and you know what I mean? So it just depends on the person. How, yes, there has to be a balance, like Katie says, between the holistic and the Western medical thingy. And yes, I agree with you, Amaria, that the United States, I believe, has the best. Actually, the University of Arizona saved my ass, excuse my language, but 20 doctors there. They have the best trauma emergency room health that we could ever have here in Arizona. I don't know about you guys over there, but I do agree with that. So thanks, guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what I've found that the mind and my mental state has done in healing my body, because I actually started that first before I really changed my diet, was the mental thing. And then because my ex-husband, my second ex-husband, was a PhD psychologist as well as an NLP practitioner. He was a master practitioner and a master health practitioner. And so he worked a lot with my mind, and we did like the what was it? Heal Your Life, Heal Your Mind, Heal Your Life. That Louise Hay, we did a lot of her stuff. And just looking at, like, for instance, breasts, he would say, like, your left side is your past. So that would be like traumas, like with what is your self identity? How have you looked at yourself? What do you believe about yourself? And then the right side, I believe, if I'm right, it might be flip flop, but it's like how others see you, how you perceive, and like how do you feel about your partners and things like that. Like whenever people get breast cancer, usually he would work with people. He's had several clients that had cancer that after working with them within just a few short weeks, it was reversed. Not saying that he did the healing, but there's something really truly in the mind that we can do.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because ever since I was a child, I noticed that my left side is always stronger, my left boob is bigger, my left arm is bigger, my left, it's like, what the hell? And so when I started, and then again, it could be because of the cyborg body, and that's his people. We're not talking about that right now.
I know, right?
All right. So then, as soon as I started talking to myself about the DNA change, talking to my blood, saying, okay, talking to my body, saying, I'm so sorry that you're hurting, but can't help you there. We're gonna have to go exercise even if you're hurting. I mean, it depends on how bad the pain was, obviously, but
Right.
it's like you gotta keep doing this, slower movements or less weight or whatever, or a change, and like say instead of running, we're walking now, but something, and I would tell my body, I'm sorry you're hurting right now, but we gotta go do this because I'm the boss, and you'll feel better after we go exercise or after you eat an apple or whatever.
I like that you're talking to your body too, because that's one thing that I learned in the NLP health part of it. The health NLP is what we would do is I imagine myself sitting at a table with each of the body parts that's hurting. So we call it like a round table. And I'll be like, okay, hey, low back, you're pretty awesome. I love how you support me, hold me up. And I'm wondering, what are your needs? Because right now you're hurting me. And so what is it that you're trying to do to help me? Because I know that somehow that pain you're trying to help me with. And then I'll get these impressions like, oh, well, the pain is there because this trauma happened and we don't want that to happen again. And I'll be like, oh, well, what if we were able to let go of that trauma and allow it to just disperse, because it's not helping us, it's causing pain, right? And then it's like you're kind of getting this dialogue. And so I kind of imagine the other person or the pain going, oh yeah, well, okay, I guess we don't need that. I'm like, so what if you were to take everything that you've been doing to make the pain, letting that go, and is there something else you could do for me to serve me so that we can be able to work together in harmony? And it's amazing how those weird little quirks, like I would have a release and then the pain would go away, or I would say, like, does it have a name, does it have a color? And I'll just go through all these little things with it and acknowledge it so much so that
I'm glad you said that, because real quick, so once I started talking like that to my body, I start from like the crown area, my eyes. I go, hey heart, how you doing, heart? I love you so much. You've been there for me, and all that throughout my whole body. I noticed that my left side now is now balancing to my right, and I feel great about it. It's the slight, you can still see a slight difference, but it's not like over like it used to be. I'm glad that you said that about the round table, and because I was hurting, I haven't been able to sleep because of the shoulder pain. So I just figured out that it has to do with the trauma that I had to deal with growing up with my mother, and I'm glad that as you were talking, my shoulder was saying, yo, listen up. It has to do with this and that. It has to do with, awesome. Yeah, it has to do with, I'm not even going to say it right now because it's just, I'm like at a wow. like, yeah, definitely. Like, because the pain will go from the shoulder all the way to the cranial area here, and I was diagnosed with what they call cervical radiculopathy, but I returned it to sender. However, I'm working on it. I have to wear the braces at night for my hands, carpal tunnel crap, return to sender, like all these things. And thank you for saying that, because I totally I will avoid certain people while I'm working on the trauma, and certain people don't like it when I don't call them and report myself to them every freaking day. It's like, you live in the same town, you know where I live. I don't have to be reporting my butt into you every day. You're not my sergeant, you're not my handler, you're not my commander. It's like, leave me the F alone, and it has to do with their mirror. I don't know why we're talking about this, but somebody needs to hear it. It has to do with their sadness. It has to do with their abandonment issues. It has to do with their self-hate. They have to, start loving themselves. And so they, some people that live in fear just always want to latch on to a person like us, right? That we are not that we're better than them. No, in no way. But we are healing ourselves. We have taken the bull by the horn, like they say, and have started a revolution, and have in our own heart, gone forward with our missions. And I just believe strongly that yes, I do have to become, quote unquote, a little hermit sometimes, because I gotta take care of my energy. I gotta, get away from those leeches. I'm sorry, but that's what they pretty much are. Archons that are trying to suck up on your energy, around you. So it's like, bye bye, leave me alone. I'll get back to you as I can. And it's not that you're being
well, and anyone wanting to research that at all, I call it a round table because I don't like the name is called a parts party. I just think it's kind of a weird, I don't like that name. I don't resonate with it. I resonate with the round table because I feel equality with it. And it's like, it kind of anchors that equality in everything that I'm working with on my inner self, child self, higher self, any of the monadic self, any of my 12 bodies. But for those that want to look, it's just neurolinguistics programming parts party is what you could look up.
Oh, and by the way, I just wanted to mention here, because now I've now put it up onto the YouTube and to the Facebook Live video, because obviously we did get into some topics that can be easily confused with other opinions as opposed to facts.
Right.
And so let me just read it out word for word so that YouTube can hear it, or any web crawler can hear it. The content of this show is not intended to be substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Entertainment only, and the opinions of the hosts are the opinions of the hosts. Always seek the advice of a physician or other qualified health providers with any questions you may have regarding medical conditions. Never disregard medical professional advice or delay seeking it because of something you have heard on this show. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor, go to the emergency department, or call 911 immediately, or in the country relevant to your medical emergency number. Dial that number. Soma Fusion Media does not recommend or endorse any specific tests, physicians, products, procedures, opinions, or other information that may be mentioned on this show. Reliance on any information provided by Soma Fusion Media Network is solely at your own risk. This may contain health or medical related materials or discussions regarding sexually explicit states. If you find these materials offensive, you may not want to listen to the show.
Yay! Take it away, Johnny Canales. Like we used to say in Mexico, Johnny Canales, ¿qué onda? So we have about 20 minutes or so. What else do y'all want to talk about?
I sure hope my dad doesn't watch this.
Hey, you could always invite him to my show next month. I'm doing a whole
he'll probably
month on
love
sex.
it. He would totally love it, Katie.
I'm like the queen of sex. No, I'm kidding. No. Yeah, no. I like to talk about sex because it's liberating. It's the most natural thing that a woman or a man could engage in. And for those people who are like, oh, I don't need sex, I don't need this, I don't need that, blah blah
I
blah
like
blah blah.
sex.
You know
I like
what?
sex. You just gotta find out who you want to have
Right.
sex with, you know? That's
Well,
all.
the other thing is too is that people who are debating um, on the whole subject itself, in my opinion, and could be agreeable by many others, sex can save a life.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
Because you so many people, they go without touch for so long.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
And then
You
you
know.
find out that these people that go without sex for so long end up having health problems.
Exactly.
Yeah, my ex-husband did. He would complain about and not having it, and then so we would do it, but then he would go for weeks at a time, like pushing me away all the time, like get away from me, don't touch
Now,
me, and like wanting to cuddle or being sensual. I think that that's so important. Touch your spouse, run your fingers through their hair, like rub their back, their feet, their hands.
yeah.
Touch their face, look
Well,
into the
what is
eyes.
what is your opinion on people, women, as women especially? I can't speak for the men because obviously I can't, uh, I can't completely understand the psychological processes of a man in terms of what I'm about to say. But what about for women who have gone through sexual trauma? Now, I'm talking about more or less you've been through the healing. Now you got into that I want to have sex stage, and you backfire on yourself.
What do
I
you mean
think it's
what do you mean
trust.
by backfiring on yourself?
Well, because see, a lot of some women's like, well, I'm never gonna have sex again. I was abused. I'm just gonna be. I'm like a no. It's a no go. They won't even play with themselves. They won't even do nothing. Not even as something as simple as masturbation or general intimacy. And when I mean intimacy, I'm talking about that whole petting, you like running fingers through the hand, running on the back, all of that stuff, general stuff that doesn't include uh, masturbation or intercourse. A lot of people, when I say backfiring, I mean just resistant in a way to progress to have sexual intercourse or to go down that route of intimacy, and then they find out that they do actually have either psychological problems or health problems as a result of going through their healing process and then just becoming resistant to intimacy and sex itself.
There's a child running
That can
behind
well,
you.
it can be a real problem because there has been times, yeah, that I've found where I get nervous, like because I am in the dating scene at this time. I've gone on a few dates with some guys in the past few months, and I flirt. I'm friendly. If I feel a connection, I like to hold their hand or hold their arm or whatever, kind of flirt a little and do teasing jokes. But I think that for me, it's going to take a lot of trust to know that I'm not going to be that I'm going to be fully, I want to use positive words, I'm going to be fully accepted and received and loved and not just being an object to be fucked. Because this hookup culture shit, like my last year, for instance, when it's been 3 years since my ex and I decided we were going to do divorce. It was that, 2017. 2021, we finally got the papers through. Sometimes it takes a while. But, I had a few guys that I had some relationships with, and it was traumatizing because I hadn't healed fully from the sexual trauma. And one of my good friends, I did a lot of sexting with, and at first it was traumatic, but then it was nice because he was supportive and he was able to help me get through some of that trauma that broke off. We both decided it just wasn't a good match, and I had a couple other guys that I got pretty connected with, and still there was some trauma there. So that's where I've stepped back a lot and I've decided I don't even sex a guy anymore. Like September of last year was pretty much the last big time that I did anything really connecting with somebody, over the internet. I haven't done anything physically with a man, but most of it's been kind of the internet stuff, just because with Rona we couldn't go out and do anything. But the guys I was dating, but but yeah, I think it's very important that those of us that have been sexually traumatized, whether, like gang rape or regular rape, any kind of rape, non-consensual, anything is traumatic, any kind of molestation, whether it's familiar, friends, non-familiar, I mean, it doesn't matter. We've got to deal with what's in here first. We've got to learn to love that first. And so I do eventually want that intimacy with somebody, but it's definitely going to take time. And I think we as experiencers, because I'm no longer a victim, but as experiencers with that wisdom, we've got to be able to completely be settled in our body, spiritually, physically, emotionally, to be able to accept and receive another human being, to want to have them engage in that, because that's a huge step emotionally with another person. And, I'm not going to go there unless I know, one, that person's healthy, that person's emotionally sound at this point, non-jabbed, because I'm not even going to go there with someone that's taken the jab. So just because, the specific one that we know what's going around. But, we all need to be discerning about what we're doing with our bodies, because
the reason why I brought it up, Amaria, is because I'm talking about for those people who just are resistant completely.
Oh,
and,
okay.
and then,
well, and I do know some of those.
and who are completely resistant, knowing that by having intimacy or sexual intercourse will actually correct some of the problems that they have, i.e. that could be hormonal issues.
Right. Oh, true.
Yeah, because a lot of times, if you don't ever reframe those experiences in a loving way, they just won't be. So I think that, you have to be in that space and how would you know? How would you know otherwise unless you tried? So giving ourselves grace for that healing in that space is really incredibly important.
Right.
I agree. There's I don't think we covered too much of that issue with the ED, because there are a lot of women that I try and help counsel that they're like, he won't take the blue pill, he won't take anything, testosterone shots, he won't take anything natural to help him. He's making an excuse that it hurts his heart. But then this guy's addicted to porn. I'm talking about a specific case. But it's like, okay, well then get a divorce if you're not happy, It's like, if the man is in the relationship, I feel, is not going to do anything to be able to please his woman, then
He's
go find
probably got
somebody
something
else.
deeper that's going on.
Go find somebody else if he's not going to heal himself, if he's not going to look for help, if he's not going to deal with those issues that are deeply rooted, and it could be a lot to do with, in this particular case, with his mother, trauma, and also,
Good point.
sexual.
Good point. My second ex did that. It's interesting, men that have those traumas with women, how that expresses itself. Because like with my second husband, the intimacy wasn't there, because it's almost like there was a fear of it, and he would push me away. And then, because I am very intense. I mean, a Scorpio rising, I've got Sagittarius and Leo, and there's so much fire, but I still got the water and I'm really balanced, but I'm a very sexual being. And so unfortunately, I have not had a mate that could keep up with me. And that was my request, was, what can we do to enhance our intimacy? Even if we're not having sex, how can we be more intimate so that I feel connection? Because one of my needs is to feel that connection, like physically feel it, even if it's just, just hold me and we can read together or meditate, just touch me, don't just push me away. Like I feel, it's like almost you feel like a disease, because they're like, get away from me.
Exactly. I second that. I'm very highly sexual as well, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go have sex with whoever and anyone.
Right,
exactly.
That's exactly right. And I think,
I need a partner. I need a partner who will actually keep up with me, because I can go on for days, but it doesn't matter if you're going through menopause or not. As far as me, it has, to me, I think genetics.
I'm like a raging teenager right now. It's so bad.
And you know what? I used to work. I was telling another woman about this. I used to work in aged care. I used to work in as a personal carer in an aged care facility, specifically in the dementia ward. And would you believe that I mean, just as a personal opinion, I do believe that nursing homes are brothels. But
Oh yeah.
it doesn't matter whether you're
They
handicapped
sure
or not.
can be.
Why would it not surprise me?
Yeah, no, you would not. Yeah. Anywho, but I do know that, you know, professionally speaking, as an aged care worker, I have actually seen I've actually seen a woman who personally asked me for a box of tissues, and I went, huh? I kind of raised an eyebrow. I went, huh? And then I figured out what was going on is the fact that she actually did. She was still she was a 92-year-old who was still masturbating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for her.
And so she was still
Yeah,
very highly
yeah.
active. And
I
like
love
I
that
said,
she
you
was still
know,
in touch with her body.
I get people all the time say they're like, oh, in their 50s, oh, but I'm slowing down. I'm like, really? I said, I know half the
That's
population.
bullshit.
Half the
That's
population are
bullshit.
definitely
Let me
not
tell you,
slowing
no,
down.
oh,
I can guarantee you
Oh
that.
my god.
But then I get the other people who come around and say to me, "Oh, but you know, I'm getting old, and we're just not into this stuff, and blah blah blah." I'm like, really?
well, it must
It's
be some
primal
kind of
instinct.
programming.
Like, I mean, I get it.
I don't.
I get it. I wonder, but I also wonder too how much of that is personal choice. Because you
Personal
can't
choice
tell
and
me that an
programming.
80-year-old, you cannot tell me
programming, yeah.
honestly that an
Programming.
80-year-old man is not watching porn right now.
Right.
It's all about programming, and it's all about and it all has to do with religious programming as well. It's a person will be sometimes made to feel dirty. I know because I grew up Catholic and then Christian. Oh, you can't watch porn. Oh, you can't have sex until you get married. What are you guys doing living together? You haven't gotten married. What the hell? It's like, seriously, this is my freaking body. You know, same thing. goes
Exactly,
with-
and at
you
the
know?
end of the day, it's all about personal choice. But
Right.
yeah.
sometimes,
I would-
sometimes I do really honestly question question some people. It's like, huh, really? Like I get it. People have certain resistances. People have certain conditionings. People have certain health problems and things like that. But it really doesn't actually prevent something outside of those things. There really isn't any prevention whatsoever for you to actually live the life the way that you want it to the fullest. And if that means having sex every single day, if that means having, bonking multiple people, so be it. At the end of the day,
If that's what works for you.
we weren't born to be monogamous, and that's just my opinion anyway. But we weren't born to be monogamous. I mean, we've been conditioned to believe that we have, but if that was truly the case, why the hell are we looking at other people when they walk past and saying, "Oh, he's got a cute butt"?
Yeah.
Let's get a windstorm so that kilt will blow up a little bit there, lad.
But you know what I mean? It's like I said, primal instinct is what us humans do naturally. And when we get pulled into question because of social conditioning, saying, "Hey, it's really bad for a woman to be promiscuous. It's really bad for a man to be a gigolo." Like, really? Like, we're doing nothing but primal instinct. I get it. The conditioning is that we're supposed to be monogamous people, one with other. Veronica, oh my God, listeners, only if you could see our chat right now. Anywho, but no, we're supposed to be one with one, or it really does not circle back to erectile dysfunctioning.
Oh, my hair.
Yes, and why this affects women. No, we have really bad sex lives. No, I'm kidding.
Oh god.
Hey,
Hey, I haven't had sex in like freaking almost 4 years, so I'm just like going.
I would agree with Amaria and like being a Scorpio, and it's not just that's your template, right? That's your blueprint for life.
Right.
But when you're with that, you're intensely connected to somebody, and like to counter that with Katie's position of, yeah, some people that like being completely monogamous is not
Yeah.
in their
That's why you
forte.
need to know your partner.
But when you're incredibly loyal and passionate in that way, that's the nature of who I am. It doesn't even necessarily
Right.
have to do with indoctrination or religious, programming. It really is kind of part of who I am as an
And it's
individual.
each to their, and of course it's
Yeah.
each to their own.
Right.
But outside
Yeah,
of that,
sure.
it's still not gonna neglect the fact that we do have primal
Right.
instinct. And
Yes.
like I said, the prime example is we may be with our husbands or our partners or our lovers or whoever walking down the street, and we turn our heads. We instantly gaze our eyes to the person that we see. Oh yeah, hey, he's
Oh
got
yeah,
a cute
I look
butt.
at everybody's
Or
butt.
she's
Doesn't matter
God,
who it is.
yeah.
I like.
It could be an
I
old man.
know
I look at
that.
everybody's butt. Old woman, I'm everybody. I look at everybody's butt. I think maybe I was a dog in a prior life. I don't actually sniff it though.
But the other thing is too is that I've asked so many guys. I mean, I've had to do a couple of case studies and whatnot. But I've asked so many guys. I'm like, going, when you go to the bathroom, do you go look at another person's another man's anatomy and to size up kind of thing? Like, no. But yet they really do. It's like, what the hell? And us ladies, we do it all the time.
Because women do the same thing in the locker
Oh,
room.
yeah.
I'm in the locker room, and I'm like,
Yeah, we do this whole.
why not? We're human. We.
Uh-huh.
I believe that the body of a woman, a female body, is so freaking beautiful. No,
That's
I'm not,
beautiful.
gay or anything, and no offense to anyone that is. It's just that I think we are beautiful,
And it should
when
be
I see the
appreciated.
men too, the men that really take care of themselves and work out at the gym, I'm like, holy f, wow.
Yeah, but the other thing is too is that
But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna go fuck f them either. It's just you're
Right.
admiring, and then when I look at the females, it's like, wow, how can I improve my body? Or damn, girl, you go with that, with that nice butt, or your.
well, let me give you another an opinion, of course. Is that when guys are doing sexting, and correct me if I'm wrong, that when guys are doing sexting, they instantly go, oh, well, I want to see a picture of you, and they're instantly looking for the gratification of the anatomy of a woman, of the womanhood. But when it comes to the guys, coming back to the same thing and requesting, they send us a quote unquote dick picture. It's like, hang on, I didn't ask you for that. I want to see you.
Mm.
Women are not
Yeah.
looking for the
I don't like the
anatomy.
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah, the anatomy is.
I'll block them right
sexy, but
away.
yeah.
I will not. I do not. It's like, I don't need a picture of your feet. Come on.
I mean,
I
if
would
you want
rather
me to
see
get
his
to know
eyes
you,
and feel
then
his
send
body.
sure.
and- yeah.
Then if you want me to get to know you, then sure, show me all of you. Don't show me your anatomy, because that
Yeah.
anatomy is not what is gonna turn me on first up,
Right.
at all.
And I think most women are that way. We're deeper. We're sensual. We want to really connect
Exactly,
in a way
and
that
that's
we
why-
feel it.
And that's why I was saying about intimacy. It takes us a while to work up. Guys tend to go for, in terms of the intimate parts. We're talking sex here. They work themselves up because they can get to the great explosion, and then that's it. But women, we look for that connection. We look for that intimacy, which is what true intimacy really is. It's not about sex. It's about the connection, about the emotional well-being of another person that we take into our own aura field in order to use that to enhance what we already have. To get to that point of, I feel loved. I
Yes.
feel valued. I feel worth.
Right.
I feel like I'm meaningful to another person.
I
Yeah, I
totally agree with
and-
that.
Yeah, we hold the Stargate. We are
Yes.
we are creator, and the male holds the wand. So it's like, in actually, what is that? Oh, that's your doggy, Shannon. Okay.
Oh.
Oh,
What a sweet baby.
So yeah, we actually have a lot of power if you think about it. We don't have to. What they call it, okay, in the modern world they call it PUSSI, whipped or whooped. I don't want to say the word because I don't know if Katie's kids are going to come in or not. But anyway, um, in actuality, that is a true term because we hold so much power. Um, you got to be careful. You know, we women have to really be careful. Not only with our words, with our spells. We don't want to, you know, our body. I mean, it's man. You understand now why some men will bow down to their goddess, which they you know, I feel
They should.
they should.
Well, men are wired to chase. We need to be able to hold space,
right,
and
right.
allow that.
And the queen, you know, and I
Right.
do appreciate Shannon saying that because, you know, whenever if I am ever gonna have a relationship, I'm very faithful, and I'm game.
Right.
I'm gonna go buy this.
You.
You know, I'm gonna have him buy the sexy clothes. I'm gonna buy the toys. I'm gonna buy whatever it takes, or not necessarily buy, but create whatever fantasies I want and he wants, because why not? I mean, we only
Well,
live
and a lot of people don't
right,
realize
right.
when a woman is balanced like we've gotten.
Right.
You know, when we find our divinity, we want to please the man. We want the man to chase us. We want him to like step up and say, "Oh, come on, you know, come take care of this because I'm going to take care of that too." And
Come
whenever you
get
can
me.
have that, I'm like, dude,
and not
get
only
it. I'm
that-
going to be like, it's an all-day tap, baby.
And not only that, when
It starts in the kitchen.
it does, oh girl.
Oh yeah.
And
the
you know
other
what?
thing-
And guys, I hate to cook, so if you know how to do something like vegan, like really, I'll go, dude. If you,
Long
But
live
I'll-
it.
There's a reason why some of us are
complete.
either really good cooks or we're like terrible cooks. Like it's just, there's like no in between.
Well, my first ex-husband was a steak and potatoes guy, and he would never try anything. And I mean, I've worked for restaurants, I've done things, but it was that always complaining, like, do we have to try this? That I just one day I was like, you know what? I'm not cooking anymore, and I stopped. I don't cook anymore. But maybe it's helped. I've lost all the weight, and I just juice, and like if I want something, I'll make it. And
yeah. and also, what I meant also by it starts in the kitchen is, you know,
It does.
You get up
It's
in the
an
morning,
all-day
thing,
right?
you know?
You get up in the morning if you're married or not or whatever. You're, you know, this, you know, you put little notes. Hey, have a good day. Like you pack a lunch or whatever, or put it in his little notebook, or, you know, under his pillow, something. You know, you kiss him on the cheek, you kiss him on the neck. I can't wait, baby. Grab him from behind.
Oh, I know,
baby,
right?
I can't wait till you're home from work because you know what we're doing. And then you send him pictures during the day. Hey, I got this little sexy lunch, you know, this little tanga or whatever, this little toe ring, you know, where this is going or whatever. You know, just be flirty all day, you know, in the kitchen, you know, in wherever. It's the whole. It's what they call warming up the oven for us women. It's men should learn. Some men know how to do it. Some men don't. Some men should, I feel, learn how to do those little tricks, because it's not just let's have sex, wham bam, thank you, man. Well, I'm dry, dude. Let's get the. Hold on, let me get the coconut oil. No, I need kisses. I need, hey, a little,
Yes.
you know.
It's so
speak to my hair,
disconnecting,
you know, like,
that.
yeah. It's like I'm not just a freaking
Yeah,
object.
and this is where I can honestly say that for guys out there that are afraid of toys, there are many guys because they're in fear of inadequacy. It's like, hang on, no. Sometimes we need the enhancements in order to get where we need to go, because
Right.
you know, it's not that you are not enough. It's just that, you know, we want to do what you want to do at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're in a hurry, you know, pull out the vibrator, get her lubed up a little bit, get her going, but let her go first, and
But
then
it's
go
definitely,
together.
you know,
and-
a woman does not ever see a toy as a replacement,
Right.
ever.
No,
Oh God,
ever,
no,
never.
no.
Oh, who would have
No,
ever
after
thought
3
about
years
that?
of toys, it's like, bring on the real shit. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, we are at 2 and 12 minutes, and I guess we can wrap it up if you guys don't have anything else to say, but we do have a lot to say. But we cannot. What do y'all think about doing another show next?
Yeah, for
next
sure.
Monday.
Hey, I wanted to bring up we breezed over erectile dysfunction or pelvic floor issues for females, but we didn't talk about how that affects men, because the dad bod that is like, you know, kind of like been the cool thing or whatever, people have been like sporting their dad bod. That's all fine and dandy, but that's your pelvic floor too, and that can affect how things function.
Yes.
Significantly. And so like you were talking about men, you know, men that keep themselves together and work out and do all these things. There's many ways to do that, but we haven't really discussed that. Maybe that's something we should like bring up next week, that it's not just a women's pelvic floor issue that can be detrimental to your sexual health, or, you know, just pissing yourself at the gym, but it affects how things work for guys too. I see my hand. You know, yeah, it totally affects that, and it affects things like hemorrhoids and like, I mean, just and you know, and if you're worried about like you know, performance anxiety for a man, you know, things like that can throw them off completely. So it's probably even more, maybe not more so, but as equally important for a man for pelvic floor health as it is for a woman. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, maybe if we do another show, we can focus on men's health.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Sure.
Yeah, next Sunday. How does everybody, is 12 still good next Sunday for all y'all?
I think so.
I'm good.
Okay.
I should be good.
I don't have my calendar in front of me, but let me.
I think it's 3:00 for Katie and I, and then is it?
Yeah, it's 1
noon
o'clock for me in Mountain Time.
12 o'clock here in Tucson, Arizona.
I might. I've got a possible job, but I might be available.
Oh, we can discuss it off of air. If not,
Yeah,
if we have to pull out, it's fine.
We have to pull out.
What? Leave it in. Just a little bit longer. Leave it in. Don't pull out.
Just hold it just a little more.
Unintended.
To the left, to the right.
A little gyration.
Hey, okay.
Hey, I had to finish the show off on a positive note.
On a bang, baby.
I ain't pulling out.
I love you, Katie. I love you, Katie. Oh my God, I love you.
Okay, Katie, we're pulling out. Love you guys, and
Love you too.
We're gonna have Katie will have the link for everyone. So again, it was Katie Kamara, Shannon Smith, Robin, Amaria Sweet, and Veronica Bartolini with Unchained Hearts. We're here on Soma, Fusion, Mind, Body, and Soul. And hopefully next week we can get some male callers, because we're gonna be talking about
Let's get some good-looking guys in here to talk to the ladies.
Thanks, guys.
And don't forget to look up iEvolveTV. Ha!
Oh yes, iEvolveTV. Yay!
And Amaria, what's yours real quick?
Heart Mind Expressions.
Heart Mind Expression on Soma, iEvolveTV on Soma, Unchained Hearts on Soma. Katie Kamara is Katie Kamara on Soma. Bye.
Yes. I'm just
Bye.
everywhere. Anyway, bye. Have a great weekend.
Bye, Toodles.
Are we off?
I might end up getting some calls for a date now. Shit, after that.